What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. We are officially 2 weeks away from Ironman Lake Placid 2025, and with near perfect timing, this book just came in the mail, and this is by Nick Bear. It's called Go One More, and actually I got a signed copy, which is pretty cool considering I'm a huge fan of Nick Bear, and I've been a huge fan of him for it's 2025 right now, like 5 years. Because when I was injured right after signing up for my first Ironman in 2019, that is around the time when I discovered Nick Bear, and he was just starting his prep for his first Ironman, or at least that's where I found him. Because I was trying to learn everything I could about, the endurance community, the endurance space, how to train for an Ironman, and he was one of the first profiles that I came across where, it was really cool because he was training for his first, and he was sharing all the lessons learned and everything that he was going through and documenting it in such a way that it was like perfect for a beginner like me, which I'm sure was his target audience. But that was pretty cool. So now, full circle, I have a signed copy of his latest book, and I'm excited to read it. I'll probably crack it open today because I'll have a little bit more time over the next 2 weeks because I am officially in my taper. So I decided for a full 2-week taper this time. Last year for this race, I tapered for only 10 days. And honestly, this prep has been filled with so much volume that I just needed the extra time to recover. And I feel like last year, going into the race, I still felt, believe it or not, a bit sore and fatigued after the 10-day taper. So lessons learned from that. I will be increasing the duration of this taper, and we'll see how that plays out. But right now, first day off from the taper, I have my next 2 weeks laid out as far as training. I'll share the first week of training just so that for any of you trying to figure out exactly how somebody goes about doing a taper, you can follow along. So this past week was a peak week. This weekend was pretty much a peak weekend. I hit 102 miles on the bike on Saturday, and then just a short brick yesterday, which was it was a reverse brick actually, a 20-minute run followed by a 2-hour ride. That was it. And then knowing that I really pushed myself last week and I'm dealing with some minor tweaks, minor pains, we're starting off the taper with a rest day, which is today. So today I've just been making sure to eat enough, get enough protein, get enough electrolytes. It's still very hot here in New York. Today's probably 90 something degrees, which I know people out west probably make fun of us when we're complaining about 90-degree days, but the humidity makes a big difference out here, and that's just me complaining because some of you I've seen on Instagram, I follow you, and you have 110-degree days out there. So I don't know what you're doing out there, but hydrating, staying on top of all the basics. Tomorrow I'll still be doing a nice 7-mile run with some speed in it. There'll probably be 3 5-minute intervals at around 170 to 160 beats per minute. So basically a tempo run tomorrow. Wednesday, a nice mile swim followed by an easy spin on the bike for about an hour and 15 minutes. Thursday, another run, not too long, just 75 minutes below 155 beats per minute. Friday off. Saturday, just a short brick, 2.5 hours on the bike, 20 minutes jogging. Sunday, an hour easy spin. So if you've been following along, you would know that this is a substantial decrease in volume for me. Excuse me. And that's intentional. And there is still some intensity built into this plan. So you do not want to just stop everything going into your taper. You still need to keep the blood moving, keep some intensity in there so that, you're not losing fitness, and so that your muscles stay strong over these next 2 weeks. So that's the importance of this shorter tempo session. And then, just find time to sit down, relax, kick your feet up, and then plan. So the race is in 2 weeks. Obviously, before the race, you're going to likely be traveling to your race location. I'm traveling to Lake Placid, New York. That is not that far away from me, but still the check-in for the race is the Friday before the race. I'll be up at Lake Placid on Thursday, and I'll likely be hanging around up there for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday race day, Monday, Tuesday. So there's some substantial planning that's required, especially since really it's a week and a half before, we hit the road, and anything that I have with me is what I have for my race. So starting now, I'll be preparing my checklist to bring up with me. All the items that I need, goggles, wetsuit, skin suit, bike, that's a big one, and everything else in between. I will be writing this down for myself, and I can share it with all of you too in one of these upcoming videos, but that's something that you have to start thinking about with a little bit of notice, because if you leave it for the last minute, you're going to forget something. Like last year, even with having experience doing races like this, I planned many days in advance, had everything packed, had the car packed, everything was squared away. I get up there, still forgot something. I forgot my bike gloves. And so luckily, Ironman is very happy to continue selling you things while you're up there. So I grabbed a pair of gloves pretty cheaply up there, but gloves last year, it could be goggles this year, it could be whatever. Like anything that you think you could need, write it down and make sure that you have it. You set it aside, you put it in a bag, take a picture of it if you want for social media. Whatever you got to do to make sure that you have everything that you need and that you're prepared, and have the list readily available so that you can look at it and feel a sense of comfort knowing that you didn't wait for the last minute. You have everything you need, and now you can just enjoy the process of your race weekend. If it's your first race, likely you're going to be stressed. This is not the thing that you want to be stressed about on your race weekend. This is also not the thing that you want to be leaving deficient. So you can either stress about it, in which case you know that you're not doing the thing that you're supposed to be doing to be in a good position, or you could be completely ignorant of the fact that this could be a problem, and then you put yourself in a bad situation on the race. So don't do either of those things. Make the decision to be prepared for your race, and you won't even thank me later, because you won't know how bad it could feel to be unprepared, because you're never going to be in that situation to begin with, and that's the goal. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'll probably sit down or lay down on the couch today and do that while I'm not doing something else, while I'm not doing the training that I normally would have been doing today. And that's one thing. the second thing that I'll definitely be doing is cleaning all my gear, like cleaning my bike, cleaning my gear set, making sure that I have the running shoes that I want to be doing in the race, make sure that I have all the nutrition stocked up that I need for the race or just for this next few weeks. Again, just checking all the boxes, making sure that I am fully set on gear. First thing I said, nutrition. Second thing, and keeping everything in order and clean. Now, that's pretty much it. That's what I want to be focusing on right now. Now, how am I feeling? I have a race coming up. I was talking to someone at work about this today, and it's kind of funny because each race that I do, I have the opportunity to enter into that race a little bit more calm than the previous one. So the biggest difference I noticed was between my first and my second Ironman. The first one, I was a complete mess. I was very nervous, very worried that I wouldn't finish. Had to play a lot of mental games to, it was like life or death. I was like, I'm not going to stop. Like in my head, I was just like, they'll have to pull me off the course. Like there's no way I'm not going to finish. I'm going to give it my all. And then really trying to amp myself up and put this mentality inside of me. And then come to the second year and I'm like, yeah, well, I'm gonna finish, but the question is, how well am I gonna do? And just that switch was that's monumental, right? But last year, even still, there were nerves throughout the taper where I've said it before, my body basically manifested a sickness where since I wasn't as active as I had been and the race was coming up, and I'm sure even though consciously I wasn't super nervous, subconsciously, my body was reacting to the incoming stress. And I dealt with that, right? Still much better than the first year, where this happened, where I was still dealing with that stress and the body problems and feeling sick coming into it. But I was also dealing with a lot of the conscious mental problems that come along with being super nervous for an event that you put a lot of weight on because you train for so long, you put so much effort into it, and for it to go wrong isn't just well, you'll get them next time, buddy. It's that was 8 months of effort, 7 months of effort, sometimes, depending on how long you've been training for it, 10 months, 12 months. In my case, it was coming up off an injury 2 years prior where I said I wanted to do an Ironman. And then 2.5 years later, rehab, walking, getting some strength back, becoming able to run, becoming able to swim, all this stuff. 2.5 years, I put a lot of weight on that race, and it happens. Now, this year, huge difference. I'm coming into this taper, I feel more confident in my own judgment of, last year, I was coached by my same coaches, and I had that 10-day taper. Meanwhile, 2 weeks prior, every single day, I'm like, I can't wait for the taper. I can't wait for the taper. My body's killing me, this, that, and the other thing. And, I trained so consistently and so much volume to the point where I was mentally broken down like 2 weeks coming into the taper. So by the time I got to the taper, yeah, it was a relief, but then I was worried. I was like, I've been training so hard and I only have 10 days to recover. And that was something that added a level of stress onto my mind. Now, this year, I did also get to that point because my volume this year is so much more than last year. Like, I looked back at my last year's training and like what I actually executed towards the end of June and into July. And this year it's like not even close, like a lot more. Maybe in terms of weekly volume, an average of like 60 miles more per week this year, with much more comfort biking and running. And still, I was looking forward to the taper. I knew that I was pushing it, and so I just decided to plan for myself that regardless of what my coaches say, because at this point my coaches are more accountability rather than like, this is what you need to do to be successful type relationship. I'm doing what I want. I'm doing what I think I should do for my body. And that's just having that knowledge and experience and trust in myself. That's just another level of mental reassurance that I think is, one, letting me come into this taper in a much better mood and how I feel about the race. But I think it's going to show over the next 2 weeks in how I recover, and then on race day in how I race. So each year and each race that I do and prepare for, I'm just noticing just a little bit more of a level up, and each one leveling up, leveling up, leveling up. And that's the benefit of just continuing to go and to keep going forward. Go one more. Whatever you want to say. Everybody's got their slogan. Everybody's got the things that they tell themselves. I always would tell myself, keep moving forward. I've brainstormed about more powerful statements, but in reality, now at this point, it's not even something it's not something you really need to think about. Like, it's something that becomes a part of who you are, where, again, thinking about this today, there's not much that I think could happen on race day, barring a catastrophe, that would prevent me from finishing the race. And I believe that to be true, and that gives me a sense of peace about competing. Now, my client Tom, I think he's going to kill this race, and I think he's going to surprise himself substantially. And based on his numbers and based on his performance and how he's showed up for training and how well he hit the program that I set forward for him, I could see him doing very well in this race. And I've told him this, and I've been trying to make sure that he knows it and really lets it sink in. But at the same time, as I'm telling him all this stuff, I do allow myself to put myself in the mindset I was in 2022, where I was so nervous going into that race that I've said it. I spent basically that whole weekend alone. Like, I had family up there visiting me and being around for the race. And it's fine, do what you need to do. And I did what I needed to do. And I stayed in my own Airbnb and just relaxed alone, wrote, ate, went to restaurants, like spent that whole weekend leading into it alone with short visitations to my family. And that's what I needed to do to allow myself to reflect, unwind, get in the right headspace. And then, like, that is a very common first timer experience. Whether you're alone or not, you're definitely like stuck in your head, and you have to deal with the uncertainty that you're even able to accomplish or finish this event. And the only way to really believe in yourself for that first one, no matter how many times I tell him that he's like golden, is to get it done yourself. So trying to remember that. But hopefully for those of you out there who are going for your first Ironman triathlon and you've put in the training, you've been consistent, you either had a coach or a program or did enough research online where you can make your own program, and you followed that, and hopefully you can trust the work that you put in and understand that you're likely going to be fine. And I say likely because I didn't see any of your numbers. I didn't see your average speeds. But if you're looking at it just objectively and you don't like waste all your time in the transitions, the speed that you need to swim, bike, and run to finish the race isn't that crazy. And most people can get there, and most people have that speed already in them. And once they get their volume up appropriately, that speed just follows naturally. So that's pretty much it for this video. I am going to, like I said, start preparing this checklist. If you're interested, I'll share it with you. I'll share it with you guys if you're not interested too, because I'm just going to prepare it for myself, and I'll vet it over the next few days. I'll give it to Tom too, because I want him to be prepared, and I'll catch you all in the next video. If you like this, please subscribe. If you do want a resource to learn everything you can about Ironman Triathlon and have a training plan to work off of and to use to base your plan off of, check out the link in my description for the 0 to Ironman training program. And I'll see you in the next video.